let's get in to the match review from last night. Obviously, Vitesse 1, Tottenham 0. In more or less an absolute no-show from Tottenham Hotspur, from the players that showed up last night. Dreadful display, wasn't it? And when you look at the kind of one player I wanna call out is Dele Alli from last night. The stats absolutely disgraceful when you read out. I mean, no key passes, no shots, no dribbles, no tackles, no interceptions, no clearances, no blocks, no fouls, no crosses. 0 ground duels, 1 out of 8 tried, 1 aerial duel, 1, 2 fouls committed. I mean, that is what you call a no-show, isn't it?
Yeah, it was horrific. It was pretty terrible from him, and he wasn't the only one, but he was part of a team which pretty much didn't turn up yesterday. I think all those players should have seen it as a good opportunity, at least for themselves, to try and have a good game, try and put themselves in the conversation to be part of the first team. Maybe not for Sunday, but in future matches. And they did themselves no favours with their performances yesterday. There seemed to be a lack of care given to proceedings on the ball. Off the ball, we were letting players run off us, and we were allowing Vitesse to get into the final third. It was only their lack of quality, really, that let Vitesse down. On the ball, like you see these clips of Lo Celso like doing the rounds, and but it's not just him. It was other players as well who were just.
It was everyone on the pitch last night. Let's be honest.
They weren't bothered about losing the ball, or if it was a bad touch, they would kind of just say, "Oh, it was a bad pass, so it's that guy's fault. So I'm not going to run or do anything about it." It was like they weren't bothered about it yesterday, and it was really disappointing to see. And it was it was just a waste of time watching the game, pretty much, because I felt like there was nothing to it. There was no one trying to prove themselves. There was nothing to get excited about. The only players who were trying hard were the young players like Gil and Scarlett, but they can't do it on themselves.
I thought the defence had a fairly okay game. Tanganga, Sanchez, even Rodon to an extent. I thought Rodon did have some shaky moments, but I thought all in all, those 3 players were all right last night. Even Ben Davies,
Yeah. I think the defence was okay, I guess. I mean, Vitesse were nothing special to battle, were they? I think Sanchez was pretty good, apart from the one moment where he had a dodgy header, which didn't quite make it back to the keeper, and he got a bit lucky. Rodon was covering. Tanganga was good defensively. I think he was hard to beat. No one really got past him, but on the ball, just a bit. I just don't feel comfortable with him on the ball. Whenever he tries to move forward and do a few dribbles, and he never releases the ball quickly and tries to do a pass and move or anything like that. He seems to kind of decide, once he gets the ball, he decides what he's going to do, and then nothing that happens changes what he's going to do. He's not very flexible in that. If he decides I'm going to go on a dribble, it doesn't matter how many players come at him. All of a sudden, he could all of a sudden get 3 players on. He's like, no, I'm still going to dribble, and he ends up losing the ball quite a lot. And that's the worry I have with him when he's on the ball. I just don't see him very confident. As I keep saying, he looks like a centre back playing a right back. That's what he looks like.
For me, the real problem last night was the midfield. Winks, Dele Alli, Lo Celso. I thought all 3 of them were absolutely dreadful last night. There were some good moments in there from Lo Celso, but all in all, it was absolutely dreadful. And those clips doing the round of social media, just absolute weak passes, really disgusting actually, just watching it. But I mean, what is it with Lo Celso? Why does he play so well for Argentina, and then when he comes back here, he just can't do anything?
I don't understand why. First of all, he's played right side centre mid when he's much more comfortable on the left. I don't know why. Everyone else, when he goes to Argentina, he's always on the left, but for Spurs, he's always on the right, either his right wing or right centre mid or whatever. I think yesterday, for the first hour or so, he wasn't bad, and then for the last half an hour, he was absolutely dreadful. And I think he was getting frustrated because I think he wants to be more involved in maybe the attacking play, maybe involved in a team around him who likes to keep the ball and likes to play some football. We weren't interested in doing that yesterday. And then obviously he's in the double pivot, so he's forced to do a lot of the defensive work. And of course Winks isn't very combative, and Winks is pretty much losing every ball he goes in for. Lo Celso is kind of there to who pick up a lot of the donkey work, and he didn't seem interested in doing that yesterday, and that's an attitude problem, to be honest. But I don't think I wouldn't say in a Premier League game it would be the same, but yesterday he did not seem interested in getting involved in a battle. He did here and there, but by and large he was getting frustrated. I felt like he was getting very, very frustrated with his teammates, and I feel like Dele and Winks weren't helping him out that much defensively. He was doing a lot of the work alone, and then he just gave up. And then on the ball, I don't know what happened to him, but for the last half an hour, he was all over the place a bit. He was doing really weak passes. He was just flailing legs at things which weren't ever going to come off. He wasn't tracking back as well. He would lose the ball and just allow players to run forward and wouldn't run back. And it was very, very poor from Gio. And I think maybe he thinks this competition is beneath him or something. I don't know. That's the impression I got of him.
A lot of these players thought the Europa League was beneath him, never mind the Conference League.
Exactly. I feel like maybe he feels like he should be in the first team. Maybe he's frustrated that he's part of his second string team. But you look, at the moment, that's the reality. Until he proves that he deserves to be there ahead of Ndombele, then he's in this second string team. And as much as he's doing great for Argentina, he's got to do it for us. And that's the only way he can break in. And he probably is frustrated when he goes off to Argentina. He's playing with Messi and he's playing with all these amazing players and he's smashing it out. He's getting man of the match and he's like, oh, he's been playing so well. And then he comes back to Spurs. He's playing a few minutes in the Premier League, not even actually this weekend. And then he's playing Conference League against Vitesse in the second string team where all the good players are left at home. And he's doing, not only that, he's doing all the defensive work as well. So he's like, I can't be asked for this.
Yeah, but what does he expect when he has to come back and he only has like 48 hours to prepare for a game? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go straight back into the team. I know some players did, but we had pretty much no choice with those players. You know, Emerson had to play pretty much because Tanganga's not a proper right back. And Romero had to play because he's levels above any other player that we've got in centre-back. So Lo Celso's just not of that ilk. He's not that much better than Ndombele. He's not that much better than anyone else we have in midfield that he walks straight back into this team.
I know, I'm not saying he should, but I'm just trying to get into Lo Celso's head about why he put in such a terrible performance, especially in the last half an hour, about why he seemed to just give up. And that's the only thing I can think. No, I'm not saying he thinks he should be straight in the team, but like I think he thinks he shouldn't. Like he probably was frustrated with doing a lot of the defensive work in a Conference League game, which he probably felt was beneath him, which is not a right mentality.
Exactly. The only way you're going to fight back into this team, fight your way into the team, is to work hard and show application on the pitch and on the training ground. That's the only way. You're going to fight back into this team, and performances like that ain't going to do him any favours, let's be honest.
No.
Dele Alli, I mean, I was saying during the game yesterday that I felt that it might have been wiser to drop Dele in the double pivot and put Lo Celso in the number 10. But with Dele Alli with his 0 duels won out of 8 or 9 tried, that's just probably proved me wrong, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you can put Dele in a pivot, honestly, because I just feel like as much as he did work hard beginning of the season, you got to remember he was alongside Højbjerg and Skip, so even if Dele was dribble past or whatever, he wasn't going to be as exposed as he would be as if he was in a double pivot. Because if he did a double pivot, he's got a lot more responsibility. All of a sudden, there's a lot more on him. I don't know if he's up to that, honestly. I don't know if he's up to being a 2 centre mid.
What is he up for?
That's the question.
What is he up to? You know what I mean?
That's the question.
We don't know. We haven't seen a good Dele Alli for a number of years now. So, I mean, where do we go with Dele Alli? Me personally, I think he needs a loan move. I don't think we're gonna get any sort of money close to what Daniel Levy wants for him. Let's be honest. So I think a loan move probably suits all parties and maybe kind of produce that Jesse Lingard feeling, you know. It wasn't going right for him at Man United. Goes on loan to West Ham, smashes it out there. And yes, he's not back in the Man United team, but every time he plays, he puts in a performance, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Dele Alli needs a fresh approach. Maybe he just needs a new set of eyes. Maybe it's just like too much at Tottenham where it's a constant cycle with him. We know what he can do, so we expect the level of performance, and he comes back and he doesn't produce that level, and everyone gets frustrated, and then we drop him again, and then he vows to work harder, and then he works hard to get back in the team, and he gets back in the team, and he's still not producing the level we expect. We drop him again, and it's a vicious cycle that keeps continuing over and over again. And I just feel like maybe he needs to go on loan to a team who maybe this expectation to be this good is not there, and maybe that a team who would appreciate his qualities a bit more, what he does do rather than what he isn't doing, like what Spurs fans and probably the coaching staff as well are criticising him or on his back four. So I just think at this point, I can't see like Delhi. At the moment, look, I wouldn't want him in the team ahead of Lo Celso or Ndombele in the number 10 in a Premier League game. I think Ndombele and Lo Celso at the moment provide a lot more on and off the ball than Delhi does, unfortunately. I'm not sure where Delhi fits in. I don't know. I said it, I think, if we're playing this formation, if we're playing 4-3-3, like, I don't know. I think Delhi is the odd one out, really, in terms of his positioning and what he offers to the team. I just think he is. It's like him being like the elephant in the room at the moment, because I feel like I don't know what positionally wise. I don't know how he can break into this team.
Every time Delhi plays this season, we've pretty much been found wanting massively. Apart from that Man City game, we've been poor every time Dele Alli plays, because he plays in that central midfield, and we basically lose the midfield battle every time he plays.
I wouldn't say we lose the midfield battle, but one or two things happen. Either he's doing a really good job off the ball, and we don't look very creative or look like creating chances going forward, or he's not that combative off the ball, and he's still not creative on the ball. Like, he hasn't been good on the ball pretty much this whole season. I don't remember anything he's done in terms of creating chances, getting shots off, like anything from an attacking point of view, dribbles, a few dribbles here and there he's done, but like there's nothing on the ball to suggest that he could contribute.
When you look at it, Wolves on midfield got overran. Fine, Watford, they weren't really that much of a test when they came to Tottenham. Crystal Palace overrun. Arsenal overrun. Yeah, that's true. He did play up front, but he just doesn't provide anything for us in the team. He doesn't provide anything. Nothing. I can't think of one thing. But look, I think that's enough on Dele Alli. How long can we go on for him for? But
obviously, I don't want him to get back to his best at this point, just half his best, and that he could contribute.
Just
but
provide something, you know what I mean?
At the moment, he's just not. I know it's a game against Vitesse where everyone was bad, but
there's a common theme with him. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's a common theme.
Just can't. Dele at the moment is very frustrating to watch. And yeah, I still believe he works hard. Like yesterday, I don't know, but in general, I still think he's a hard worker. I don't think he's downing tools or anything like that. I don't think he doesn't care. I just think we're expecting a level of performance that I'm not sure he's capable of anymore. That's just reality. I think we have to start looking at it like that.
Which is crazy at 25 years of age.
Yeah. But
it's nuts to think. I mean, it's baffling to me why we're talking about this. A guy at 25 years of age who at 19, 20 years old scored 20 Premier League goals in a season.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
now he's got more burden and responsibility, and I don't know if he's up to it. That's the reality.
It is the reality, unfortunately. But more points from the game. Let's talk about Dane Scarlett, because obviously he got another chance in the team last night, and I actually think, all in all, when you compare his Conference League games so far, I think this was probably the best one in terms of how involved he was in the game. I felt that he was working really hard for the team. I felt that he was coming back in defence and doing some really good work at some points. He was just getting lost a bit up front, as he has done in the previous games. And, his physical presence isn't there, obviously, as a 17-year-old kid, which is no slight on him. It's just where he is at in his career. But I did see signs of kind of being more involved in the game as he was previously.
Yeah, he was definitely competing a lot more. He was winning a few headers. He was trying to compete physically with the centre-backs, although I felt by and large they bullied him and quite easily dealt with him. He was trying, and there was a moment in the second half where he might have been able to get a shot off in the penalty area, but he wasn't able to act quick enough to get the shot off, and ended up getting booked for getting bundled over for some reason. I thought that was a ridiculous decision. Could have even been a penalty. It was unfortunate. But again, look, as much as I think it was a bit better, still not really involved in trying to get chances or shots or anything like that. He was a bit better at attempting to hold the ball up. There was a moment right just before he got taken off, actually, which he rolled the centre back really well. But unfortunately, the ball ran through to the keeper, who was able to clear it. And I felt like he lunged into the keeper. Although he didn't make contact, he did lunge in. And that was, I felt, a consequence of a bit of frustration from Scarlett, I felt, because I felt like you could see his eyes light up when that chance came. And he was barely getting a sniff all game. So I felt like he thought this was his moment to try and get a shot or something, and it still ran through to the keeper. And that's why he decided to dive in, because I felt like he was like, look, he's still getting very frustrated. So that was a thing. That was the thing. I just look again. I think he did fine for his age and whatever, and the experience will be very good for him. But in terms of us relying on him to do anything for us,
you can't rely on a 17-year-old. Let's be honest.
He is 17, and he plays like a 17-year-old against men. Unfortunately, that's the truth.
The thing is about someone like that, you know, if you're going to come in, I think you need to have like pace about you if you're going to kind of override the physical factor, if you can. And I think that he doesn't look that fast, which is the thing. Like, he peeled off a few defenders a couple of times, but he just wasn't fast enough to get to the ball.
Yeah, again, it's physically.
And if he had like pace about him, then maybe he could have done something yesterday. But he doesn't seem to have that much pace about him.
I think he does have a bit of pace, but again, when you're running, some players have a pace that can compete in the men's game at 17. But I'm sure once he grows into his body, he'll get that a bit faster. And it's not just about having pace; it's about powerful running as well. It's about able to run and shake people off as well when they're running behind you.
There was that time where he peeled off the defender, right? And you know, you thought he was going to get there first. He wasn't going shoulder to shoulder with the defender or anything like that. It was a clear run at the ball, and the defender just got there before him. And yeah, and I just thought he would have been faster than that.
It's a physicality thing.
You think so? Yeah,
it's a physicality thing. I'm telling you. It's because pace can be a bit deceptive, even at a young age. It just pace at 17 is not the same thing as when you're 20, 21, and you've got a bit more muscle about you. And once you build that, you'll get that bit faster and you get a bit more of that power running for you when you grow up a bit. I just think he's a teenager, and that's just reality. He's trying to play. It's a boy trying to play the man's game at the moment, and I just feel like he's being harshly judged. We're like, everyone's looking at him and saying, "Oh, is he ready? Is he going to make it?" Like that. Those judgments should never be levelled at a player so young. I think it's ridiculous, and unfortunately, we've put him in this situation because we don't have any other choice but to see what he can do. I don't think he's a slouch or a slow player. I just think he's 17 and he physically hasn't yet grown into his body, and that affects your running as much as your strength as well. And I think that's just reality at the moment. That's just what I feel. I'd love him to get a chance to go and see what he can do, if he can get a shot and get a good finish or something. But at the moment, he's not being able to get the opportunities because off the ball, they're a thing. Even strikers off the ball, that's where a lot of your goals and movement can come from. And if you're physically not able to get away from defenders, it's going to be extremely hard for you to even fashion a chance or a shot or anything. That's just reality, and I think that's the level he's at the moment.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. And I mean, all these people kind of coming out on social media, coming out in the live chat and stuff like that, saying, you know, I don't see anything in Dane Scarlett, you know, and ready, pretty much throw him away already. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. The guy's 17 years old, hasn't grown into his body, got a big future ahead of him, and we just need to be patient with the guy. He's 17 years old. I mean, what age did Harry Kane break into the team?
Yeah. 21.
Exactly.
So 4 years.
4 years later, further on in his development. So look, we're going to have to see what happens with that one. But I definitely back him for sure. That's for sure, to become a top player for us. But look, what happened last night. 1-0 against Vitesse. It was a shocking performance, and probably happy to close the book on that game for now.
We move.
We move, exactly.